Hello and welcome to Left Coast Live. I am your host, Dieter McBusiness, joined as always by StatPat, Stateless, Patriot of the Central Valley. It is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. We are California lefties coming to you about national politics, big and small, left and right, up
hmm
and down. StatPat, what is on your mind right now? Is there any hope to be had in this country? That's what I want to know.
You know what? I'll be
There is?
complete.
There is. There's got to be, otherwise we're going to lose our audience.
Well, sure. Yeah, there's hope. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's definitely hope. Yeah, I mean, uh, kind of slips my mind of what kind of hope there is right now, but I'm sure it's there. Don't
hmm
be. I mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask, but um, it is a worthwhile question. Maybe other people have better answers than I do because you know. Um, Feeling less optimistic than usual. I'm not my jovial self.
I think there's hope long term if we're
On
allowed
a
to
lot,
have fair elections in 2026 and 2028.
on a long enough
I,
timeline, we win. Like
yeah,
the left wins because
but it's just a
the
question of
only
like how hard and unapologetic the left, the general left, all of the the moderates, the centrists, anybody who's anti-MAGA, anybody who's anti-Trump,
the ultimate
how hard are they going to come back at MAGA and be like, we're not going to listen to you for like 40, 50 years, maybe like ever again. Why
no
should we? Why
no
should we? If you're a conservative in today's America, that's what I want to know is like, how do you expect to be taken seriously? How
no
can you
yeah.
possibly expect to be taken seriously after all this? Like, you gave us Trump,
The
you know?
past 9 months have been absolutely disastrous,
Yeah.
and it's only served like obviously MAGA serves capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not they want to admit it, whether or not they even recognize it, because that's the ultimate dividing line, but everybody's so brainwashed into the left right divide and whatnot, and not realizing that both political parties serve the interests of the capitalist class because, like,
Right.
no shit. But if you're MAGA, you think the Democratic Party is just a bunch of communists. So,
Which is so
because
crazy.
the
It's
ultimate,
so ignorant.
it's insane.
It's so ignorant.
The
It
only
just shows
dividing
that they
line
just
that
don't know. They just don't know politics. They just don't know what they're talking about. They
you
simply don't do their homework and realize that APAC, just one
mhm,
example, gives to
yeah,
both sides.
no, yeah, no,
And there's a lot of PACs that give to both sides, so that no
yeah.
matter who wins, they have influence.
Yeah, no kidding. And the fact that, like, I mean, you ask, is there any hope? And it's like, on a long enough timeline, I do believe that we win because there are more of us than there are of them. Because the ultimate dividing lines in this country, as it has been for decades upon decades in multiple different societies at this point, is the working class versus the owner class, the capitalist class, the ruling
Right. The
interests.
investing. I call them the
Yeah,
investing class.
yeah, yeah. No kidding. Because they have all the money to throw around, and they're just getting more and more and more day by day by day, while the working class just gets less and less and less. And that couldn't be more pronounced under this current regime. It couldn't be more pronounced with the actions of this administration throughout this entire year. So, like, I mean, I've always been an optimistic guy. I don't let shit get to me, but god damn, do things look so bleak.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of like trying to focus on being grateful for what I have and being
Me
like kind
too.
of relatively safe
That's been my mindset
in
for a minute now.
California. In California, although I just found out my local DA is a Christian nationalist.
Oh, gross.
Yep, just found out. He spoke at the Charlie Kirk vigil on
What the
Monday
fuck?
night.
Wow.
Spoke for like an hour almost. Yeah.
Jeez. That's gross.
Yeah, the Charlie Kirk vigil at the school that I coach at
But your local
was
one, I see.
yeah, and they had this huge vigil, and apparently it looked pretty packed. I saw some pictures from the back row, looking at the stage and seeing all the rows in front of them full. So I was gonna go and maybe see if I saw people like that I wanted to protest or get in their face or something like that. But no, I
No,
decided
it's
not
not even
to.
worth it. Yeah, I mean, mostly it's normies that only like him in passing that would show up to something like that, because the people
Right.
who are actually like behind propping him up as a political figure would be the people who would prop up the next Charlie Kirk, which
Right.
apparently that's already happening.
Yeah,
Like
Braylon
because
or whatever. That guy
I have
Braylon.
I have no I think that's his name. Yeah, and
The I've had it woman Jennifer, I think is her
she's
name.
great.
She just covered him. I just watched that bit earlier today.
She's been
So
on a
she's red
great
hot.
tear lately. Yeah,
Yeah, no, she's
yeah,
red hot. She's like the newest face, and her pumps, her co-host is cool. They have a good
yeah.
duo.
She just
But
tore apart.
I think Jennifer can get on like any stage. Like she does her homework. This girl does her homework.
Right, like they actually just had on this Democrat and they tore him apart because like, will you commit to not taking APAC money? And he fucking
He said
like
no.
a typical recipient just weaseled his way around it, you know. And like she made a great point. It's like you will lend yourself so much more credibility if you say right now that you will not take APAC money.
Right.
You will gain so much more credibility if you distance yourself from them and refuse
Right.
to take their blood money.
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, weak. It's weakness.
Yeah. No, it's the definition of weakness and um,
Uh,
the revelation that I've come to recently. I saw a quote. Forget who it is. It might have been anonymous, but it was very simple. It says the system's not broken. It's working exactly the way it's supposed to.
yeah, it's cliche, but it's true. Like the system's
And
not meant to work for me and you.
no,
You know, it's meant
no,
to. It, like there's no.
it's capital class.
Yeah,
It's called
they don't.
capitalism. It's staring you in the face. It's called capitalism. What is capital? Capital is money,
Yeah,
specifically investments.
yeah.
Like when you own 200 McDonald's
Hmm.
across 15 states, right?
Yeah,
You're just reaping in the money. Like it's a
yeah.
machine.
You don't
And
even
over
have to
time,
work.
you don't even have to do anything.
Yeah,
You just
you're not working hard. You're just
no, you're not
moving
adding
money
value.
around.
You're
Yeah,
not
and
adding value.
yeah, exactly. And that's how this country has worked for a long time. It is even more clear to me now than it ever has been, because the more money that is concentrated at the top like that, the less there is down at the bottom for it to move around, for it to be a healthy economy. It's going to get like unfathomably bad
Yes.
for the rest of us the next several
It's already
years.
miserable. It's going to get even worse. It's hard to
Yeah,
imagine it getting worse, but it's going
year
to
by
get
year.
worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, of
It's going to
course.
get worse.
Yeah,
Especially with the big, beautiful bill. Oh my
yes.
God. Cutting
It's
Medicaid. Like, people are going to die. People
no,
already are dying.
yeah, and they don't care. Honestly,
No, they don't
like
care.
the shutdown that's happening right now, the White House basically coming out and saying, yeah, there's no deal. We're basically heading for a government shutdown, and it's like
Yeah.
good. Fucking like finally Chuck Schumer actually like stuck to his guns. God, he's probably my least fucking favorite senator, and that says something.
Chuck
Worse than any
Schumer.
of the
Yeah.
yeah, worse than any of the fucking Republicans. Like unbelievably weak, unbelievably cowardly. Just like here, just listening to him speak as it, like this guy's a fucking leader. Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
He, granted, like sure, you should be you should have a list of demands. You should ask the Republican Party, who controls the House, controls the Senate, controls the White House, the fucking Supreme Court. You should ask them for concessions, because what's at stake? Millions of people losing their health care. The credits for the ACA, they expire at the end of the year, and that would mean that if something isn't done about it right now, which is what this fight is about, those credits expire. Millions of people lose their access to coverage, and also a lot of them lose their health care. That's
Yeah.
going to hurt small businesses who rely on those credits to give them like cheap coverage. If that expires, premiums get monthly premiums get boosted by 1 to 300%. Smaller hospitals begin to close, especially in rural areas, because it's like people can't afford their own coverage. So it's like you're going to see a lot less hospital visits, and a lot of these hospitals obviously are for profit because that's how it fucking works in America,
Hmm.
and they're going to end up they're going to end up closing. Not to
Yeah.
mention a lot of people who rely on this healthcare are going to die. They are
Yeah.
going to die. And of course, the Republican Party doesn't give a fucking shit because, oh, well, the Democrats want to give illegals healthcare coverage, and it's just like the number is probably so negligible that it's completely it's vapid. It it holds no bearing on the situation at all.
Hmm.
Just because some illegal immigrants might be getting healthcare coverage,
Yes.
that means you get to strip away healthcare from millions of poorer
The
Americans.
American way is if I don't think someone is getting something that they shouldn't get,
Hmm.
then they shouldn't get it.
Yeah,
The whole thing is
it's
like, is
gross.
someone else getting a benefit that I think I should be getting? And they'd rather have that benefit. And if the answer is yes, then they'd rather have the benefit completely cut.
Yeah,
People are, I've been telling you, it's the most narcissistic society
yeah.
that the world has ever seen because unlike other dominant economies of their day, ancient Rome and the
Hmm.
British Empire and so forth, this one actually has the delusion that everyone is equal and that people have an equal opportunity to attain the American dream, to attain financial success. And that's
No,
what's holding us back as a nation is people not just being realistic and being like,
you,
yeah,
you're
maybe
never
I'll be lucky to have $1 million by the time I'm 50 or
sure.
60. Like, I mean, get real.
Yeah,
Get
it's
real with it,
a
guys.
nation
It's
of.
the whole American dream, man. It's like George Carlin said. That's why
Mhm.
they call it the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Yep, yep.
And it's it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So what's especially gross is, yeah. I mean, you basically said it all. You laid it all out there. We're a nation of temporarily embarrassed millionaires. People don't understand. Like you're not going to strike it rich, and we're still cut to the billionaire class because they have they own their lackeys in the media who tell um, conservatives who watch the it's basically the Republican propaganda arm uh, that like we need to defend these billionaires. We need to defend the multimillionaire class because
Right.
they're the inventors. They're the ones who provide all the jobs and all this and that. Hello, Megan. Thank you for joining.
Dude, I was on the
Who
Gen Z podcast, and the entrepreneur between the two of them, one's an entrepreneur, the other one's a stand up comic. And the
hmm
entrepreneur was like, I feel for him. I feel for Elon. I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Absolutely
I
not.
said the
Like
needs of
they
the
don't feel
many
they don't
outweigh the
feel for
needs of the
you.
few, dude. Yeah, you think they give a
They
flying
don't give how
fuck about
they
you?
want you dead.
I
They
mean, they
want
want
to
you out of
see
the
they
way.
want to see
They
you
want you
gone.
consolidated. They want to
Yes.
They want to buy you at some point when
Either,
you're,
either either
and
you
then make you
submit to
even
them.
poorer.
Yeah. Yeah, either you submit to them or they wipe you out because there's no use for you, especially with the rise of AI, the less economic mobility, which is obviously going to get worse and worse with the big beautiful bill and what the Republicans are doing, and obviously the shape of the economy and just how much worse it's gotten over these last 9 months. It's all to serve the ultra rich. If
Yes.
if if like if the Republicans allow these ACA credits to expire and millions of people lose their health care coverage and rural hospitals around the country
Close.
begin to close, like what the fuck is it to them? You're a disease to them. They want you dead. They want you out of sight,
Maybe
out of
it'll be,
mind.
maybe,
They don't give a
that's
fuck.
interesting. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So, rural hospitals might close when the ACA credits expire.
Yeah, I mean on top of
So,
like
that
Medicaid
would
cuts
be,
as well. I just
that
don't
would
know.
be maybe the wake up call for
I
rural America is
if they
like, when our fucking hospitals close.
No, it won't. It won't because
Well, it could be.
they're going to
You know,
just blame
they'll
Democrats.
find a way to blame the Democrats.
They'll fight,
right?
yeah, like what they're doing right now. Like you got the Republicans controlling the House, you got the Republicans controlling the Senate, you got the Republicans in the White House. Obviously, it's a 6-3 conservative majority on the Supreme
Yeah.
Court. Like, if you want Democrats to vote for a continuing resolution or an actual fucking budget, explain why millions of people should lose their health care coverage at the end of the year. Why are you letting that shit expire? Of course, they know that their base is going to eat up their fucking propaganda because they're gullible little fucks and be like, oh, do you want illegal immigrants to have health care? It's like the number is so negligible. It's not even a factor in this discussion. Like,
Right.
poor people are going to lose their fucking healthcare coverage because you motherfuckers who vote for Republican all the time are fucking racist.
Right. Xenophobes.
Yeah. Yeah, like how fucking dare people who have less
they don't
than
know
you might possibly
Right,
be
get a
getting
benefit.
healthcare coverage.
Right.
Like, for fuck's sake. Meanwhile, your wealth is being extracted. The food that you're getting, the farms that you're getting your food from are all shutting down. We're giving a bailout to Argentina. Like, it's basically a bailout of $20 billion. Meanwhile, China, which is like our biggest soybean customer.
Oh yeah, soybean. Yeah.
They're buying their soybeans from Argentina. So it's like, what fuck it, like, it's so disgusting. Like, take away health care for the poorest people in America and use whatever money is saved from that and give it to the billionaires in the form of a tax cut, or maybe a bailout for fucking Argentina, whose economy is flopping, who our apparent biggest adversary, China, is now going to for goods.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just, like, make it make sense. Oh my god!
I mean, it makes sense if you know the Republican Party and what they've stood for since 1980.
No,
It's just
of course.
all it is just an exaggerated version of that. I saw a good video recently on Instagram that I reposted. I think you saw it from Barry Goldwater back in 1964, talking about the consolidation of power and how the president, even back then, was starting to have too much power. And that was
I saw that.
evidenced by Watergate. So he was right.
Yeah.
And it just got worse. America is an insane nation because we never learn from our mistakes. We just keep making the same mistakes over and over again, and things just get more and more extreme. I mean, the thing that I'm like becoming numb to is people mischaracterizing the left. I'm just sick of people mislabeling the left and calling us violent, and how we just hate people who disagree with them. We just call people who disagree with us Nazis. It's like, no, because I disagree with a lot of moderates and centrists, so I don't call them Nazis. I just call you Nazis because, I mean, Trump has done. You can't really deny this. Trump has done to immigrants what Hitler did with the Jews. I mean, it's scapegoat politics, as I talk about in my essay, as we've talked about here. Your life doesn't suck because you suck. Your life sucks because of those immigrants taking your jobs, taking your health care, and those transgender professors at academia, and abortion, and all these stupid issues that we've talked about for so many years. And it's like abortion, that was ruled on back in the 70s. Okay? Mm-hmm. We had that conversation as a nation, and we ruled on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the bottom...
Where's the concept of settled law, idiots?
Yeah, the bottom, like, 50% of Americans, I believe, hold, like, 2.6% of the wealth now, whereas the top 1%...
Yeah, I think I told you that statistic.
Yeah, and now it's like... And now the top 1% hold, like, 61 or something like that.
The top 10%, the most important statistic is the top 10%. So you got 10 people. Let's say you got 10 people, 10 cookies. All right? One person has 9.3 cookies. Mm-hmm. and the remaining 9 people have zero point 0.7 of a
Oh my,
cookie
right. Yeah, that's
to
basically,
to deal with.
yeah.
That's the top 10%. So what I'm just saying there is the
But it's
top
the immigrants that
10%
are
of
the
U.S.
problem.
household, the top 10% of U.S. households that own publicly traded stock own 93% of publicly traded stock.
Yeah, and the average CEO nowadays makes 300 times more than the average worker does,
Right.
whereas back in the 50s and
It's like
60s
60.
it was only like 20 or 30 times more.
No, I think it was more than
It's like,
that, but yeah, I think it was like 40 or 50 at certain
yeah,
spots.
the farther back you go, the smaller the number gets. But these are like the only numbers that fucking matter when it
Right.
comes down to it, because like it the I think the only goal of the left should be to wake up as many people to these facts as possible, and
Right.
these numbers, and just how lopsided the economy is. Like, is it's not working for us. The two political parties that we have, the two major political parties, are not working for us. They're working for the capitalist class. They're working for the owner class, who are extracting as much wealth from us as possible, leaving us high and dry, leaving us to die, leaving us with less and less and less year after year, disappearing rights, disappearing privileges, less access to fucking healthcare. They're trying to privatize Social Security. They're even I think they're delaying the CPI uh, numbers, which are what Social Security
Bases
heavily
on, yeah.
relies on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that way people who receive Social Security, that the number that they get, like for any given month, any given
It's
year.
adjusted, right.
Yes, exactly. Because they know that the economy is cooked and it's just going to get worse. Inflation is going back up. We're cutting interest rates, and yet mortgages are still going up for whatever reason. It's a whole fucking mess right now. It's insane, and they're trying desperately for as long as they can to cover up the reality of just how fucked it is. But when it comes down to it, when it does all boil over, or however much of it does boil over, they'll just blame Democrats, even though they
Yeah.
have fucking nothing, little to nothing to do with it, because
They have no
obviously
power.
Republicans
Own
have
everything.
the House, and House
See, and
controls the
that's what I
purse.
worry about is like, can the Democrats at least make sure the blame falls on the Republicans when things start to break down on a personal level for the American public?
At the very
Because,
least.
like we've talked about, like people don't care until it affects them directly. Well, based on the things that we're talking about, it's about to get real for a lot of Americans. A lot of
Yeah,
Americans are about to feel this,
yeah.
if they haven't already with inflation. I mean, everything's more expensive. It's absurd how expensive everything is.
And that's supposed to
And
get
it's
even worse as well.
right.
Like the energy prices, especially
Yeah.
in the United States, are about to get absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
You
Somebody said in 10 years, your energy bill is going to be
more
more
than
than
your
your
rent.
rent. Yeah.
Fucking absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's absurd.
So I guess we can go ahead and get into this NSPM 7 thing.
Yeah. What is this?
So it is it's basically a national security directive, and I mean, speaking of which, Hegseth had his whole spectacle in Quantico. Is that what it
Hmm.
is? And
Virginia?
yeah, all the generals showed up just to basically deadpan, stare him down, stare Trump down, expressionless, and it was awkward and fucking just bizarre. And what's really bizarre is like the fact that like he was speaking to them, and you can really make the case that like pretty much every single general in there, everyone in that audience for his speech, they're all more qualified to be in his position than he is.
Yes.
Um, but this, he's the gist of the speech was he wants to sic the military, direct the focus of the military on Americans. Enemies domestic. And this seems to be the line that the administration is going with right now, cracking down on, I guess, domestic enemies and whatnot. And NSPM 7 is the seventh directive of the Trump administration so far. And Ken Klippenstein kind of broke it down here. And he says he shares an image here saying the Trump administration isn't only targeting organizations or groups, but even individuals and quote unquote entities whom NSPM 7 says can be identified by any of the following uh, indicators of
Organized political violence. Yeah, they're going to go after
yeah,
anybody that protests Trump
anything
anything is just going to get just killed.
These are the bullet points: anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, extremism on race, extremism on gender, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on religion, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality. I think we account for like maybe nine or 10 of those.
Mm-hmm.
And
you and I.
Yeah, that's it, Megan. Yeah. So we would basically count. Yeah.
Yeah, we would be a target. Yeah.
Of course.
They go after a lot of our friends too.
Yeah, and they keep it purposefully vague so that way, as big of an umbrella can be, like, they want to cover as many people as possible. Like this is going to be used to attack basically anybody that they want. They have an excuse now. It's a national security directive signed by Trump. It's different than an executive order. This means that basically like all intelligence agencies, all like the entire federal government will then start redirecting their resources and their focus on anybody who fits this criteria. So, and Rokana commented on it, one of the better members of the House, saying Trump's NSPM 7 represses freedom of speech and association, investigating any organization with quote unquote anti-capitalism or anti-American
They're
views.
going to go after the DSA. They're going to go after Mamdani.
No, they can under these guidelines. Rokan also says I ran a primary in 2003 against the Patriot Act and war in Iraq. NSPM 7 is a greater infringement on freedoms than the Patriot Act. I didn't know that he's been around that long, honestly. Like 22 years. It's crazy. It's absolutely grotesque. More on it right here. Basically, something I tweeted out. It's not an EO. It's a national security directive. If you've ever uttered anything remotely anti-government or anti-Trump, it makes you a target of the American intelligence agencies. This will be used far and wide against as many people as possible. Yes, holding traditional American views, like anybody who's hostile against that.
So much for small government, conservatives.
Yeah.
So much for small government, you motherfuckers. Now you've got a police state. This is the police state. That's what this is.
Yeah. Not to mention, it's like the thing about this especially is how vaguely it's written, and it's done like that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They can point to anybody for anything, for any reason, and chalk up their behavior to being an enemy of the state or being a terrorist. Mm-hmm. Why do you think Antifa is being designated as a terrorist organization, despite the fact that they're not an organization? It's like, oh yeah, show me your Antifa membership card, or show do tell FBI what makes an Antifa uniform, Right. It's absolutely fucking insane.
Hey, John F. McDropout. Yep, it is. We are doing okay, man, but it's scary. I
It's a
mean, I'm
fucking
seeing this.
terrifying time.
Did you see the Stephen Miller quote?
Stephen Miller quote.
Yeah. Hold on, let me find it. He said there is an entire system of feeder organizations that provide money, resources, weapons, and they're attacking ICE officers. They're attacking federal buildings,
Total
whether
bullshit.
isolating public officials for harassment, doxing, intimidation, and ultimately attempted assassination. It is all carefully planned, executed, and thought through. It is terrorism on our soil.
Absolutely bullshit. Like
That is just lies.
he's just completely fucking making that up.
He's just making this up. They're acting as if like there's a war going on.
Yeah, like you
And
go like yeah, and people are poking fun of it like because they want to send the National Guard to Portland, and just people literally walking by the ICE facility, nobody there, you know, just taking the piss out of the whole thing. Like, oh wow, it's so crazy here. Somebody got my order wrong at the local coffee shop. I can't believe the gall of this city. It's like there's nothing actually fucking happening.
listen to
But like I
this.
said,
So do you know what the text of the directives actually says? It's
I'm
right
actually
here.
I'm actually looking for it right now. You want to pull,
So
pull
here
it
it
up
is.
on
Ready? The
screen?
directive, the specific reads. Here's the text. There are common, recurrent motivations and indicia uniting this pattern of violent and terroristic activities under the umbrella of self-described anti-fascism. These movements portray foundational American principles, for example, support for law enforcement and border control, as fascist to justify and encourage acts of violent revolution. This anti-fascist lie has become the organizing rallying cry used by domestic terrorists to wage a violent assault against democratic institutions, constitutional rights, and fundamental American liberties.
Yeah.
Not mentioning one organization. They just sound bitter that we're calling them fascists.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, honestly, that's
They're just
probably
pissed
all it
off
comes
that
down to.
they're getting called what they are.
Yeah,
They're
it's
finally
like
getting called white trash fascists.
yeah, it's
Oh,
like Stephen
better be
Miller being
careful.
like Stephen Miller being retweeting Gavin Newsom's press office calling Stephen Miller a fascist, and he's like, "Why would they tweet out something like this?" And then the press office replies like, "Because you're a fascist."
Right.
like fucking like for one, speech is not violent.
No.
I've never bought into that thing. Like rhetoric, it's just words. Like name calling.
Well,
That's
I
not
mean, if you
inherently
get
like
up
a
in some,
violent.
if you're 6'5" and you get up in someone who's 5'7", if they're in their face and tell them you're going to beat the shit out of them, that's
But
not freedom of speech. That's
no,
abusive.
sure.
That's intimidation.
Well,
That's a threat.
that's
That's a
threat.
threat of
Yeah,
physical violence. Right.
but name calling is not a threat.
No.
Like
If you call someone a
I wouldn't
pussy,
make that. Yeah, I wouldn't make that argument. But yeah, it's fucking fascism. That's really all it comes down to, honestly. Just total control, dictatorial control over the intelligence agencies, redirecting the resources to go after fucking leftist political violence when like that's not even like it's so uncommon that excuse me that I think um non-politically motivated violence, like apolitical violence, is even more than like when it comes to like mass shootings and shit like that. Rates even higher than left-wing influenced violence, but still,
right?
right-wing violence is still like top of the heap by far when it
Well,
comes to
since
motivation.
1975, for the last 50 years, there was here I took it on. It was on Morning Joe this morning. So the statistic is that since 1975, there have been 65 left wing acts of terrorism. Since 1975, okay, lefty it was 65, right wing
Like 400 something.
391.
Yeah.
So 391 divided by 65 is about 6. So for every one act of lefty terrorism for the last 50 years, there has been 6. 6. Right.
Yeah, there was.
So
So
shut up.
The guy that just
Seriously.
shot up and burned that Mormon church um
Yeah,
in Michigan.
MAGA. He's got a MAGA sign in his yard.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
on his truck,
Yeah, but yeah,
and he
there
was
you
wearing
go.
a Trump shirt. And apparently, his motivations for committing that act of terrorism was Mormons being a bit more accepting towards the LGBTQ.
Right.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah,
And he was a MAGA
like
guy.
yeah. It's like, oh,
Weird.
that's pretty funny. I mean, we hear a whole hell of a lot of anti-LGBTQ rhetoric on the right
Yeah.
broadly, and so it's like obviously like maybe it's time to start redirecting our attention towards this kind of rhetoric, this kind of violent language and whatnot. All these people spouting this anti-LGBTQ bullshit, fucking influencing guys like this. Why isn't the CIA? Why isn't the FBI go after people like that? Obviously, I'm taking the piss out of it. Obviously, I'm being like, fucking abolish the Patriot Act, for God's sake.
Yeah. No
God's
shit.
sake, dude. Um, you want to end off on, I guess, Kamala Harris's recent interview?
Yeah. Sure. Do you want me
Yeah,
to bring it up?
yeah. I believe she
It was
had,
on Rachel Maddow.
yeah, like a pretty lengthy one, but I think it's worth going over because it reveals a lot.
I
She
mean,
talks a lot about her book, and also
oh wait, hold
she's
on. Can we get into wait?
what you
Hold
got?
on. We gotta watch this. We gotta
What you
watch
got?
this.
What
This
you
is a
got? What you got?
live stream. We can go live with these people.
What is
Nice.
this?
Hold on. It's the California Underground,
Okay.
and it's the they're conservative Californians.
Throughout the
What are they covering right now? Oh, I see. Revoking numbers
you're gonna have to
rising in
wait for a
California.
show every Tuesday for any of the videos that come out between then or Instagram or stuff like that. So that would be the point of it. But
Here, let me troll them.
with that said, obviously with a short runway
17 watching right now.
for Prop 50, there was going to be a lot of money spent on these ads. We knew there was going to be a lot of money. Charles Munger,
Yes,
So-
on 50.
I'm always flabbergasted
on
at how much
50.
money people like
There you go.
Mungers have, because he just like
Take
no problem like cuts a $10 million
the fight
check for Prop 50. Like
to
he just
MAGA.
drops money like it's crazy. People are money left and right. It's like I said, I think the total's over 50 million. At
They're not
this
going to
point. It's
respond.
gonna go
She's had a
even higher
really
by
bad
the time we get
facelift.
to November. I could.
It's
At this
horrible.
point, I
Like
imagine it's probably
that's
like $100 million
so awful.
in money spent on this Prop 50
Anyway.
campaign.
All right,
between
yeah, we're out of
before
here.
And the
These guys are just such losers.
She should get her money back for that. Honestly, poor thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I guess Kamala Harris went on Rachel Maddow, and it's kind of worse than I can even really express. We could put on like 1.5 speed just
Okay,
to
hold on.
blow
You want me
through
to
it,
do it?
but
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, let me
let's
get
do it. Yeah,
All right, stand by. Just riff for a second.
hey, no worries. All right. Oh, let me
Here's
actually
Rachel
put a
Maddow.
banner across the screen because I got at least a few people in here.
Full
Subscribe
interview.
to
It's
us,
an hour long, dude.
please.
I don't want to
Well,
do this whole thing, but okay.
no,
We'll
we don't.
see.
Yeah,
1.5.
probably go for another like 40, 50 minutes, I guess.
Okay, it's fun. We'll just do
Yeah.
this.
Thank you for joining. Follow us. We're on Blue Sky. I'm on Twitter, and we're also on Instagram. Let's go.
Kamala Harris here tonight for her first news interview since leaving office, her first news interview since the election.
It's
Very
actually
excited
kind of
to speak with her. I'm a
crazy
little
that
nervous
it's
about this
been
interview.
this
It's a big deal,
fucking
I'll tell you.
long.
I do have one thing to tell you, though, separate and apart from that, before we get started. MSNBC has just today announced that my new documentary is going to be airing here on Friday, October 17th. This is a brand new documentary I've made. It's called Andrew Young, The Dirty Work. We're going to have a special Rachel Maddow show here on MSNBC that night at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's Friday, October 17th, and in response that she used in her rallies. She would say, "When we fight, we win."
But you didn't
Why
fight.
didn't we
When
fight?
and everybody
Yeah, where was the fight?
We win. And of course,
You were
what
doing
everybody knows now very
events
much
with
about
Liz
is that
Cheney.
She did not win the election. And her new book is about that. The new book is called 107
It's actually
Days.
kind of
It comes out tomorrow.
crazy.
The
It is
good.
story-
The book's
How-
title
how
is one
bad-
big excuse.
Yeah.
The book's
And her new
title
book
is one excuse.
About that.
It
The new book
is.
called 107 Days.
107
tomorrow.
days. Oh, I only had 107 days.
There was apparently like a lot of infighting, a lot of bickering back and forth
Yes.
between her and Biden's team because
No,
they didn't
dude.
believe in her, and like it's like no
Yes.
shit. But also
Yeah.
it's like they were also like loyalists to Biden when
Then
it's
why
like,
did Biden
Pick her in the first
endorse
place?
her? Yeah, why did Biden endorse her right away instead of saying we'll sort this out at the convention
yeah.
or we'll sort this out prior to that?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was talking about this process. There was this really
They're all-
for
they're-
all the political junkies, we were all so pumped for an
Yeah.
open convention. That would have been historic.
It would have
People
been
would have
amazing.
loved it. People would have loved it.
But they're all fucking pussies.
Instead, Biden picked him. Biden just picked her.
It's crazy, like how obsessed Democrats are with like proceduralism to a fault, except
Right.
when, except for like very, very certain niche instances.
No, when the
where
it's the
protecting
hard
ego-
times.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
the Democrats are all talk. When the rubber meets the road, they're gonna bail.
yeah.
They're gonna
not-
bail.
not
They're
very
not. They're not
democratic.
tough. They're the opposite of tough. They're soft.
Exactly.
It is the story of her 107-day-long campaign for the presidency, the shortest presidential campaign in modern history. She describes in the book, on page 1, how she learned from President Biden that he would end his campaign and hand the reins to her. She learned that news less than half an hour before the whole rest of the world learned it as well. She writes about how everybody in Democratic politics responded when she made all her first phone calls to tell everybody the news, to ask them for their support. She took notes from those calls.
cares?
She says, "You are going to be a fantastic president." Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, Vice President Harris writes, quote, "He tweeted his endorsement even before I reached him." So far, splendid,
cares?
which means it is not all nice. And so we also get Vice President Harris's notes on the other responses she got. Gretchen Whitmer, "I believe you will win, but I need to let the dust settle. Talk to my colleagues before I make a public statement." President Obama says in part, quote, "Michelle and I are supportive, but not going to put a finger on the scale right now. Let Joe have his moment. Think through timing." Nancy Pelosi says in part,
Smart.
"It's important that there's a process. We have a great bench. We should have some kind of primary, not an anointment."
There you go, Nancy.
Fucking
Sanders
like,
says in
yeah.
part, quote, "Please focus on the working class, not just on abortion." J.B. Pritzker says,
He's
"As
right,
president,
I
I'm a
mean-
convention host. I can't commit." And then Gavin Newsom. she
Hi,
writes,
King, we'll call back. He
And then
never
she puts in
did.
parentheses, "He never did."
That
because he was
sounds so
pissed.
much like, yeah,
107 days
yeah,
ago.
because he was pissed because he was like, "Oh man, if she wins, then I'm not gonna get to be president."
yeah.
And now he's gonna get to be president. I mean, it's gonna be Newsom if everything goes the right way.
maybe, unless they rig it.
Unless
which
Pritzker steps up and somehow gets it.
I hope he grows a spine. I hope he does step up. I do prefer Pritzker over Newsom by far.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Harris's thoughts on picking her vice president, interviewing Mark Kelly and Josh Shapiro, and then ultimately choosing Tim Walz and all the great things that were great about Tim Walz, how much in particular she loved Tim Walz's wife, Gwen. But she also writes about why
Didn't
Pete
like
Buttigieg
Josh
was her
Shapiro
personal
because
first
of
choice
how tied to
already.
Israel he
You get her
was.
detailed
Now
thoughts
that
on how
look
President
at
Biden's
was.
age showed when he was tired, and her view that the
Didn't
White
think
House
Pete
basically
Buttigieg.
mismanaged that.
We'll get into it here.
She says President Biden was not incapacitated. He was absolutely capable of governing, and he was, in fact, very good at it throughout the entirety of his term. But she also writes that he was
We
not
all saw the
up to the
debates.
task of campaigning well
Give me a
for another
break.
term. And she writes about her regret and her frustrations for how that was handled by the president's senior staff. I will tell you this,
All right,
this
all
book is
right.
going to sell a gazillion bazillion copies.
No, it won't.
And Vice President Harris's bluntness and
God.
quick yes, but also in places like central Washington State.
Oh,
And
yeah,
those
the
protests were
Kimmel
in New York
suspension.
and in Los
Like,
Angeles,
get on
yes, but
with
also
it.
in places like central Washington State, LU, and every celebrity ordered
Yeah,
rich owners of
we
the LA.
talked about that already.
Those guardrails would be stronger. I was wrong. But now, of course, the election is.
Oh, yeah, all things considered.
Vice President
Here we go,
Kamala
okay.
Harris, Madam Vice President, thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
It's good to see you.
I think it's good to be here.
It's weird to talk about you with you sitting here and me pretending you're not here.
Oh, it was awkward for me too. It's okay.
How have you been?
That's
I'm
actually
well.
kind of
Yeah, all
funny.
things considered, I am well.
How have you been taking care of yourself since the election?
You know, I have an incredible family. I've been spending more time with them than I had for quite some time, cooking, and writing, and reflecting, and talking to a lot of people, making a lot of calls, receiving a lot of calls. So I've been busy.
Let me talk to you about this capitulation thing.
Yep.
This really landed with me. I feel like we're all in the middle of it, but you articulating it in the way that you do.
You've been
You've
writing a
become the patron
book.
saint of
What is she
activist
talking about? I've
capitulation.
been busy. Yeah, you've been busy writing the book. Now it's time for you to cash in, right? Who's your
Yeah.
agency again? CAA, the same ones that reps Biden.
Yeah,
You've been busy writing the book and cooking. Yeah, I'm sure.
sure.
Well, you haven't been on TV. You haven't been speaking up against Trump.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
landed with me. I feel like we're
exactly.
all in the middle of it, but you articulating it in the way that you do, you've become the patron saint of "I told you so" in terms of people understanding the sort of warnings and predictions that you made about what Trump would be like.
Give me a break.
But you say, I predicted all of that. I warned of it. What I didn't predict was the capitulation. The billionaires lining up, the grovel, the big media companies, universities, so many major law firms, I will note, including your husband's.
Yeah, and he spoke out about it.
He's been very vocal
Yeah.
in criticizing it. He said they've all been bending to blackmail and outrageous demands.
Yeah.
Why did you not predict the capitulation? And what do you make of the effort to try to put some steel in the spine of those institutions?
So as you know, I am a lifelong public servant, and but I've worked closely with the private sector over many years, and I always believed that if push came to shove, those titans of industry would be guardrails for our democracy, for the importance of sustaining democratic institutions, and one by one, they have been silent.
Let's hear that again, guys.
And
Yeah, this is
importance of
disgusting.
sustaining
This is stupid.
would be guardrails.
Here we go. Listen to
that
this
if-
very carefully. Listen to it very carefully. The titans of industry would be guardrails to protect our democracy. Listen to this.
push came to shove, those titans of industry would be guardrails for our democracy, for the importance of sustaining democratic institutions. And one by one, they have been silent. They have been, yes, I use the word feckless.
This is the most hilariously
You fucking idiots.
naive.
I love the
thing
honesty, though.
I
You gotta love
ever-
the honesty.
No,
you thought
yeah.
You thought the titans of industry would be guardrails. Like, what are you talking about? They're just trying to survive for the next 4 years or get as much money out of it as possibly can through flattery of Trump. Because that works.
Do you think they give half a flying motherfuck about
No.
democracy if
No, they
it
don't give a
means
shit about
that
democracy.
subverting it would fucking
Give them
gain
a better bottom line.
Yeah,
No way.
exactly. Like it just
this is
like,
ridiculous.
it goes to show
What
like
a
and
horrible
and
start.
She's talking about it like oh well like I thought this like she's coming up for just such a naive perspective. Like that's not how fucking capitalism works.
No.
Like it is literally incompatible with democracy. By definition, if your bottom line is profit, if your bottom line is endless growth forever, cashing out, expanding, especially if you're multinational, what the fuck do you give a what do you care about the United
Right.
States election?
You just move your company.
Yeah, exactly. Or fucking like just lobby for the government to pass policies that benefit you. It goes to show that she doesn't know anything about history. Since when, throughout history, have the titans of industry stood up for any democracy, any democratic values, anywhere?
It's not like they're going to lose their yacht or their house in the Hamptons. Use the word feckless. They have been silent. They have been, yes, I use the word feckless.
Ooh.
It's not like they're going to lose their yacht or their house in the Hamptons. And here's the thing. Democracy sustains capitalism.
No,
Capitalism
it fucking
thrives in a
no,
democracy.
no.
And
The
right now we are
actual
dealing
fuck it
with,
does
as
not.
I called him at my speech on
Hold
the ellipse, a tyrant.
Hold on, I gotta pause it. Hold on.
We used
Sure.
to compare.
Go ahead.
Like
Democracy sustains capitalism. She is totally turning her cards over. This is a great window into the heart and soul of the DNC right here, and the way that they think, and the way that they think, the way that they have just sold out to capitalism. Capitalism was supposed to be regulated, you fucking idiots. What's happening now shouldn't have happened for another 20 or 30 years. But thanks to Reagan, and thanks to Clinton, and thanks to and now thanks to Trump 2 times, it's all happening much sooner than we would have expected it to.
yeah, we're entering.
But the end
late-stage
result, the
capitalism.
destination was always the same. Because of the simple fact that once you have money in a capitalist system, any capitalist system, it's a hell of a lot easier to make money.
Yeah.
Once you have money, it's a lot easier to make money. There's that cliche in corporate America. Your toughest million is your first million.
Mm-hmm.
Same idea.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
It
like
plays to
this-
the giants. It's not YouTube. Look at YouTube. It's a great example. The people with the most subscribers are going to show up on your feed when you search for progressive YouTubers.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
fair? I don't know. Is it?
It's insane. Like
It's
that
just the way it works.
is one of the dumbest things anybody has ever said.
Yeah.
Democracy.
I don't know if I can do this whole thing if
Capitalism.
this is how she's going to be. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Sustains capitalism.
This is unbelievable.
And here's the thing. Democracy sustains capitalism. Capitalism thrives in a democracy.
No.
And right now we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now, Donald Trump. And these titans of industry.
No, a
are
dictator.
not
That's what she
speaking
meant.
up.
She meant dictator.
And perhaps it is because his threats and the way he has used the weight of the federal government to take out vengeance on his critics is something that they fear, and I get that. I understand why they do. We've seen the demonstration of it. Perhaps it is because they want to please him and nominate him for a Nobel Prize. Perhaps it's because they want a merger approved or they want to avoid an investigation. But at some point, they've got to stand up for the sake of the people who rely on all of these institutions to
But what if
to
I want to make
have
billions
integrity
more dollars?
and to at some point be the guardrails against a tyrant. The people who rely on all of these institutions to have integrity and to at some point be the guardrails against a tyrant who is using the federal government to execute his whim and fancy because of a fragile ego.
I know that your parents took you to protests in a stroller when you were a little kid, before
Yes,
you
they
were
did.
literally able to be there to walk in that. You've talked about the civil rights movement and its moral legacy being part of your moral core.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of the
Wasn't MLK a
defenses that you
socialist?
tried to build up in advance of this
Yeah.
kind of sort of would-be authoritarian takeover were about warning people about how serious the threat was and warning people about what this could mean
Yeah.
and what we were in danger of. Now that we're up against it, though, I'm not sure that we have great skills to actually not warn about it but fight it. And if the problem is the system collapsing and the guardrails, as you say, collapsing, and people who have power, who ought to be titans, not acting in any sort of
And
titanic
standing
way.
together, because there is safety in numbers, as the saying goes.
Yes. I wonder if the American people who are repulsed by what Trump is doing and who are in public opinion polling very much against what he's doing, as you note in the book, are going to be turning their ire and their protest movement and their organizational capacity against these institutions that are failing as much as they are against Donald Trump himself and the administration, if that's the way the sort of resistance is headed.
So, one, back to how you opened the show, I mean, talk about the power being with the people and the people making that clear with their checkbooks as it relates to the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel. We saw the power of the people over the last few days.
So it wasn't
and
just
it
that,
spoke
though.
volumes, and it moved.
It wasn't just that. It wasn't just people canceling the Disney Plus subscriptions. It was the fact that they had lost Disney had lost $4 billion in stock value. It was the fact that they were being largely boycotted by several, like we're talking like maybe dozens of A-list, B-list actors and celebrities if they didn't reverse course on unsuspending, if they didn't reverse course on the whole Kimmel thing. People stepping up with their pocketbook and whatnot, like canceling the subscription, yeah, it played a role. But Disney and ABC and whatnot, they need that business with those big name celebrities and whatnot more than they do those subscriptions, if that makes sense. And
Yeah,
so
talent.
that was basically the excuse that they needed to stand up against Trump, because they realized like it's going to hurt us more if we don't stand up against the FCC and Donald Trump and, bring Kimmel back, because we need this business. We need to keep the gravy train rolling. And if that's being threatened because we're not standing up against this blatant, like overuse of power and violation of the First Amendment, this threat by the FCC, that it would have been all bad.
A decision in the right direction. I think that part of where we are now in terms of thinking about what the fight is, it requires us, yes, to understand that we've got this administration and this president in front of us abusing the power that the people vested him with. But we also need to understand that this is bigger than Donald Trump. Part of what I write about, this stuff is decades in the making, Rachel. It didn't just happen overnight. So much of what has indeed overwhelmed people, not to mention just scared the stuff out of people.
I really hate how she considers herself just to be this larger than life figure that's just so much bigger and grander and bolder than she actually fucking is.
All right. So you want the fucking truth of it. She was a DEI hire. I mean, she was.
yeah.
She
Yes.
was. she was picked by Biden simply because she was a woman. I don't think her being a woman of color mattered so much. Maybe you could call that gravy, but it had to be a woman. It had to be a woman. It was going to be a woman.
Right.
There were a lot of other women that were vying for it. Gretchen Whitmer and who's the one from Minnesota? The one
Tammy
from
Duckworth?
No, the one from Minnesota, but she didn't get it because of George Floyd. I forget her name. She ran for president. She's a senator from Minnesota. She's super cheesy.
Megan says he said he was picking a black woman. So yeah, it was either going to be.
Are you sure?
I think if I remember correctly, it was either going to be Tammy Duckworth,
one from Georgia. One from Georgia.
Yes, Stacey Abrams,
yeah,
or Kamala Harris. And I'll never forget Stacey Abrams' reaction when she went on TV because Biden was. Everybody was waiting to see who Biden was going to pick, and they both went on at the same time, Stacey Abrams and Joe Biden, and you can just see her smile vanish into a frown when as the discussion went along that Joe Biden wasn't going on there with her at the same time to pick her to be the vice president. It's a classic clip at this point, but I guess it was just to give her praise and thank her for her help and when it comes to certain issues and shit. But it did come down to him wanting to pick a black woman.
Yeah, and that just ruins it for everybody. I hate when people do that.
No, yeah,
it's just so now we're only you're picking them simply because they're women of color. Oh, okay.
Because
it takes away from the earning it. He should say, "I'm going to pick whoever I want."
Yeah,
and you'll find out when I say so.
Yeah,
and then come up with a woman of color if it's that important to you.
Yeah, that would have been boss as fuck. Shit.
Yeah, tell the media to shut up, and I'll tell you when it's done.
Exactly.
Take control.
Yeah,
be a fucking leader.
But back then, it was just so much worse than it is even right now, because it's just the onslaught of anti-wokeism, anti-DI and shit that is just nonstop from the right wing. But back then, identity politics was the name of the game when it came to the Democrats. It's how they primarily.
Well, I ran into that myself. I ran into that firsthand. The irony, and the people who don't know what the hell they're talking about, is identity politics lives within the neoliberal establishment. It does not live on the progressive left. I went to the DSA convention this summer. It's the most diverse place I've ever been. Mm-hmm. I was surrounded by people who are completely different from me. I was like the token straight white guy. You know.
No, right? Yeah, yeah.
And
it's
that's
common.
fine. It was fun, and I didn't mind being the token straight white guy. I mean, there are a lot of straight white guys there.
Sure.
But, the straight white guy that grew up loving competition, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Not a lot of DSA members love competition the way I do.
Sure.
And, diversity is a great thing if it's done correctly. Yeah. And her hire as vice president was not done correctly. You know why? You know why I can say that? Because Biden was always on the verge of death. Okay? He always looked horrible. He looked particularly horrible in that debate a year and 15 months ago, whatever. But it's still necessary to pick someone, and I guess that's probably why they went with Kamala, because she was a woman of color, and of the people that we mentioned, she was probably the most qualified to be president. Yeah, she probably was, having been a senator and been a DA. She was probably, of the women we talked about, the most qualified to be president. But it really shouldn't have mattered. It should have been someone that unquestionably could have run the country if Biden died. And it should have been someone who was ready to run in 2024. How could they not have someone ready? And Kamala's a miserable campaigner, as we saw.
Awful.
She has never been good. She got worked in the primaries. She didn't have a voting base. This is what drives me nuts about this interview, like you're kind of alluding to, is she's acting as if she's a player. She's acting as if she's the shit. and like we should like listen to her and she has accomplished something. No, woman, it was handed to you. You didn't even earn it by getting a big fan base.
Yeah.
You know, most people in those positions, they're bringing millions of fans with them when they join the ticket. You didn't have millions of fans. We saw that because in the primary, you couldn't even make it to the first primary.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the Biden administration really shot themselves in the foot by purposefully limiting their field of options,
Right.
as a successor to Biden in the first place. You know, and we can go on for days and days about fucking the mistakes that they made and whatnot, but this whole interview, because I've seen little clips of it, little pieces of it here and there, reminds me of just how horrible of a pick she is, how horrible of a campaign she ran, and just how horrible of a figure in politics she is to begin with.
Yes, she's bad. And it's not because she's a bad person. It's because she's incompetent. This is the thing. I have no doubt that she is legitimately doing the best that she can. But there's another factor here which people don't like to talk about, which is that she's cute, and she was pretty cute back in the day.
She's got a charm to her that actually plays well.
No, but I'm talking about like physically attractive women have a really hard time admitting they're wrong and coming to terms with no one caring about what they have to say.
Oh, I see exactly.
She thinks people care. She thinks this is going to be a bestseller. People aren't going to give a shit about this book. You kidding me? People are trying to save money they can spend on fucking eggs.
It is a high velocity event.
Yeah.
We are witnessing something that has been happening so rapidly, and it feels chaotic. But what I would offer you is what we are witnessing is the swift implementation of a plan that was decades in the making. Decades in the making. Project 2025 didn't just drop out of thin air.
45 years, to be honest.
Decades of work. Federalist Society.
Since
Heritage
when, though?
Foundation.
Be specific.
Understand that the implementation of a plan that's about trying to get rid of the Department of Education, deregulate industries, weaken the rule of law by over a period of time, creating a system and
it's all spelled out.
Gerrymandering
900 pages.
States so that we would now have the Supreme Court that we have. This stuff didn't happen overnight, and it did not happen just because of an election in 2024 or even 2016. So when we talk about where the fight,
even if it wasn't like,
hold on,
always
that is about the immediate moment, such as the weight of the federal government being used to silence critics, citizens, and it must be about understanding that this did not just happen overnight, and we have to pay attention to an agenda that is not going to necessarily go away when this guy is finally turned out of office.
Well, let me ask you on that gerrymandering front. The White House has been very aggressive, pushing Republican-led states to gerrymander
So,
their
like,
maps to effectively.
this plan, like it wasn't always named Project 2025, but all the components are they've been in the works.
Plus, you don't even need a Project 2025 to know where the GOP has been heading for the last 45 years.
Yeah, no, exactly.
All you have to do is do your damn homework. All you have to do is study American history since 1945, and like you understand America pretty well. If you really know your history from 1945 to the present, and really, if you want to understand what's wrong with the country, just study 1980 to the present day.
Yeah,
that's the real capitulation. She talks about capitulation. It's been the story of Democrats capitulating to Republicans over that period of time. Go ahead.
Not to mention the money and where the money has gone, the Republicans, and where that money has come from, and what those people stand for. Those think tanks, those major money players.
Right.
What do they want? What kind of future for America are they pushing for? And it's all laid out in Project 2025. But like those ideas, these plans, and whatnot, they're all on the same page. They're like all these people, they're all on the same page. Yeah,
so predictable.
Like it's been a thing that's been advocated for decades now, and now it's all like a whole conglomeration of all these ideas in one package being implemented under Donald Trump.
Republicans a major edge heading into the midterms next year. That has led to related responsive Democratic efforts, including in your home state of California. Do you support Democrats' effort to kind of fight fire with fire there? Will you be involved in that California measure, for example?
I absolutely support it. You mentioned Gavin earlier. By the way, Gavin has a great sense of humor, so he's going to be fine. But
did you warn him about the hiking thing? You did.
Yeah, I've known Gavin forever. He literally has a great sense of humor. But let me say about what he is doing with redistricting. It is absolutely the right way to go. Part of what we've got to, I think, challenge ourselves to accept is that we tend to play by the rules. But I think this is a moment where you got to fight fire with fire. And so what Gavin is doing.
The motto is whatever hurts the GOP helps America. That's
Bingo.
the motto for the next 40 years. Vote blue no matter who. That's that's an order.
Yeah.
That's like just do it. Like it worked for Nike. It's not going to work for you in politics. You don't tell people what to do.
Yeah.
You speak truth, and that should motivate a certain behavior. The truth that we should speak for the next 40 to 50 years.
The outcome
is whatever hurts the GOP helps America. Because
Right.
the GOP is an institution of evil.
Yeah, it's the same outcome, but the framing is different. Like the meaning, it takes on a deeper meaning because, like, you can hate the Democrats all you want, and boy, fucking howdy, do we hate the Democrats. But it really is about just how much more harmful the GOP is, despite the fact that they're both parties that are beholden to the capitalist class.
What the California legislature is doing, what those who are supporting it are doing to say, you know what, you want to play? Then let's get in the field, let's get in the arena, and let's do this. And I support that.
Speaking of a sense of humor, your book is very funny, which I think helps a lot, given that there's a lot of
It has to have a sense of
difficult
humor.
material.
Yeah.
I'm going to read something where I have to bleep myself in the middle of reading it out loud, sort of. This is the part when Trump told an audience, National Association of Black Journalists, told them that you happen to turn black and that you now wanted to be known as black. You say, on the plane that day when I first heard about Trump's remarks, he patched in Brian Fallon, your senior advisor, communications advisor, on a call to strategize a response. Brian wanted me to punch back with a big speech about my racial identity, like the one Obama had given. I was so pissed that I didn't hold back. Are you effing kidding me? I was not about to take Trump's bait. He lies all the time, I told Brian. He throws out outrageous statements to distract from the real issues. Quote, today he wants me to prove my race. What next? He'll say I'm not a woman and I need to show my vagina? I don't even know how to say that. Brian, on the other end of the phone, fell silent. I imagined the deep crimson of his blush. All right, so first of all, you made me say it.
I really have.
How do you decide, I mean, in the moment, particularly when it's so ridiculous, it's funny, how do you decide when to not take the bait and stay off the terms that he's trying to set for the debate and when to punch back? What did you learn about that in the process of going up against him?
So, I also talk about, the first 2 weeks that I was the top of the ticket, we had no polling. No polling had been done on me. So it was my gut.
Yeah.
And so I came up with this speech that actually was about, I was a prosecutor. I dealt with people who engaged in sexual abuse. I was attorney general. I took on people who engaged in fraud, on and on and on. And so I know his type.
I remember this line, yeah.
And because there is, there's something about in the English language that phrase, I know his type, that does a lot of work for you. Because it's something we all relate to, whether it was that boss, it was that person, whatever.
That's a female empowerment thing.
Which is fine.
It's fine.
Fine.
It's fine.
It works.
It's fine, but like, don't fall in love with it.
Yeah, and also it's like I totally see the perspective of like not wanting to take his bait and just respond directly, because it's like you got to keep in mind, like, even though Kamala Harris ran a poor campaign, I would argue Donald Trump ran an even worse campaign than she did, because they were scrambling. They were pissed that she replaced Biden because they had worked up for so long to run against Biden, and they didn't know how to handle it. So I mean, she could have done worse when it came to this particular thing that she's speaking about here.
Yeah, no, I think this is one of the better calls. It's just be careful with the female condescension thing.
That's his type. And so the character
they got
that
carried
I
away
knew I
with
was
that at
running
one
against
point.
is someone, because he's shown it also. I mean, he did it with President Obama. He did it with Secretary Clinton. He throws this stuff out that he thinks will be an individual's weakness or Achilles heel, with the intent to distract from the fact that, as it was in this campaign, he had no plan for actually bringing down costs and prices for the American people. He had very few plans for what he would actually do that was about the American people.
I have
not about
concepts of a plan.
his vengeance on his enemies. And I wasn't about to fall for that bait. And the stakes were too high. The stakes were too high. You can't get in the gutter with that guy, because that is the way that he distracts from the fact that, for example, right now, he promised the people who voted for him that on day one he'd bring down prices. And I do believe, Rachel, that's one of the main reasons that the people who voted for him elected him, because they believed he would do it. He lied. We're now in a position where Unemployment is up. Inflation is up. The cost of groceries is up. So, as the folks used to say, don't fall for the okie doke. Just don't.
All right, lots more to ask you. We'll be right back with Vice President Kamala Harris, President most upset thus far, which is some of your writing about the decision around the president abandoning his reelection campaign, the timing there and how it was handled. You say in part, page 46, it's Joe and Jill's decision. We all said that like a mantra, as if we'd all been hypnotized. Was it grace or was it recklessness? In retrospect, I think it was recklessness.
Yes.
The stakes were simply too high. This wasn't a choice that should have been left to an individual's ego,
Exactly.
an individual's ambition. It should have been more than a personal
Yeah, it's a
decision.
team decision.
Whose decision should that have been? How should that decision have been made?
So when I write this, it's because I realize that I have and had a certain responsibility that I should have followed through on.
Yeah, good for you.
Which is, and so when I talk about the recklessness, as much as anything, I'm talking about myself. There was so much, as we know, at stake.
And there's the proof that she was a DEI hire. And I don't mean that in a derogatory term. This is one of those, like, unfortunate cases where, like, she actually was kind of a good choice to replace Biden, right? Like, if there had been an organic process by which she was selected, I think she could have been a good choice. And she had, but this is proof that Biden's team didn't pick her in 2020 because she was talented.
Right.
They didn't pick. They have no confidence in her.
They even
They
admitted
picked
so.
her because she was a woman of color and she filled a quota and it was historic and yada yada yada.
I think they even like directly responded to because there were like little teasers and little excerpts from the book that were released ahead of time,
Right.
that kind of took shots at them, and they basically came out and were like, "Oh yeah, Kamala Harris isn't talented.
Right.
She this is a petty high school drama, squabbles, and this and that and whatever." And it's just like, I'm in that kind of instance, you're not rooting for one side or the other because they're both awful. Like the Biden's team and Kamala Harris in general. But it is true. Like, she was not really the Biden team did not have any faith in her, which was what made the whole fucking 2024 Democratic primary, which wasn't even a fucking primary, such a fucking clusterfuck to begin with. Yeah.
And
I don't
as
think I
I
can do
write,
this whole thing.
where my head was
probably
at the
neither.
time is that it would come off as being completely self-serving.
If you said to President
Right.
Biden
If
that
I-
you did not think he should run again.
Yeah, or even that he should
Yeah,
question
no, it
whether
should have
it's a good
been.
idea.
It should have been either Kamala's chief of staff. Well, it should have actually been Biden's chief of staff saying, like, sorry, Joe, your time's up, man. And if you don't drop out, then I'm resigning. Like that, you should have put it. The chief of staff should have put it to him, but
Yeah. But I think that, one of the reasons I wrote this book, Rachel, is there are actually a number of reasons. One is that it is unprecedented, right? To your point of what you said in your opening, we had a president of the United States running for re-election, 3.5 months from the election, decides not to run. The sitting vice president enters the race against a former president of the United States who's been running for 10 years with 107 days to go. And it ended up being the closest presidential election in the 21st century. And there was so much about those 107 days that, for me, and this is really a behind-the-scenes look at those 107 days, was about seeing people who seemingly had nothing in common coming together by the thousands with a level of optimism and, dare I say, joy about the possibilities for America. And I hope to remind people about that light that people brought to it, and to remind people that light is still there. And we can't let that be extinguished by an election or the individual who's in the office right now. Because to the point of all those folks who got out and protest about the Kimmel suspension.
And about everything else that people
And
are
that's
protesting.
right.
This is what pisses me off. Like she has no idea what the stakes are right now. Like she doesn't have a full scope on how bad things are under Trump, how much eroding of institutions have been happening under him, the corruption. Every single week, it's multiple Watergates. It's out in the open, but
Yes.
because it's Trump, it's become so fucking normalized. And the Democrats have no message. They're the least popular they've ever been.
fix your mic.
Like
There you go.
So it's like, spare me all this shit about, well, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's in office, and there's still a light that lights us and guides us. And about it's just like we're in the middle of a we're on the brink of fucking civil war, lady.
Right.
Like
to a protest or being, with their pocketbook or getting engaged in local and state and federal elections, they'll make a difference, and they've made a difference. And I guess the last point is that we've got to really remember that this person who's in the White House promised a whole lot of people who supported him and voted for him that he would do one thing, which is bring down costs and prices. And he lied to them. And we need to remember that as we move forward with the next series of elections, and midterms are around the corner, that it's not just about him by himself. There were others around him who perpetuated that same promise and have not followed through. They're about to go into negotiations around the continuing resolution, the budget. And I know that leaders Schumer and Jeffries are going to meet with the president, I think in the Oval Office. And good for them to go there and ask Donald Trump, the president of the United States, to justify why he is proposing to cut Medicaid, why he is willing to shut down the government for the sake of putting on the backs of working people the tax cut he gave to the richest people in America.
Do you think that Democrats should vote to allow the government to shut down in order to try to extract concessions from Trump on these matters?
It won't be the Democrats who are shutting it down. It will be the Republicans. The Democrats are doing the job that any elected leader should do, which is to say we're not going to do the bidding of the President of the United States at the sacrifice of our constituents' health care.
And that's the fairest fucking point to make.
Yeah.
In the book, something that you called a secret project that you ran as vice president, that you called the STARS Project, identifying up-and-coming talent in the Democratic Party. You'd meet with them, ask them about their interests. You say that more than one of them said they felt like they were being called to the principal's office when you asked them to come in. But the folks who you met with in this way include some of the people who you see very frequently now on MSNBC: Jasmine Crockett, Angela Also Brooks, Maxwell Frost, Robert Garcia Moore. Arguably, the fastest rising star right now in Democratic politics is Zoran Mamdani, who is going to be elected mayor of New York City, and probably in a landslide if the polls are anything to go by. Lots of mainline Democrats have been very shy about his candidacy. They seem somewhat flummoxed by his success.
Let's see what she says to this. This is the best.
As a sort of talent spotter in the Democratic Party, what do you think of him and his candidacy, and what do you think of mainline Democratic shyness and agitation about the prospect that he's going to win?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, he's the Democratic nominee, and he should be supported.
Do you endorse his candidacy?
I support the Democrat in the race, sure. But let me just say this. He's not the only star. I know that he's in New York, and I know New Yorkers think they're the center of the world. And here we are in New York having this interview. And I love New York, as the saying goes. I really do. But I mean, there are people like Barbara Drummond in Mobile, Alabama, Helena Moreno in New Orleans. They're all running for mayor too, and they are stars.
Okay,
so I hope that we don't.
Check this out. This is a huge reason why I fucking hate her so much. The people that she just fucking named, one of them lost her race. The other one, and keep in mind these are both women. The other one is a daughter of a fucking billionaire oil tycoon.
What's her name?
Yeah. I don't know.
Pickens? It's not Pickens, is it?
No, I don't think so. The two people that she just named, one lost, and one is the daughter.
Helena Moreno in New Orleans.
Helena Moreno.
They're all running. But I mean, there are people like Barbara Drummond in Mobile, Alabama.
She lost.
Helena Moreno in New Orleans. They're all running for mayor too, and they are.
She's the daughter of an oil tycoon. Fucking notice. She wanted to get away from the Mamdani question as quick as possible. She refused to endorse him.
Well,
sure. I support the Democratic
candidate. About the prospect. Do you endorse his candidacy?
I support the Democrat in the race, sure. But let me just say
that's her endorsement, but it's not a good endorsement. I mean, her endorsement should be taking 30 seconds looking into the camera and say, we New Yorkers would be lucky to have Zoran Mamdani as their mayor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't screw it up, New York, because you got a good thing going on right now. Like, if Kamala, where's the charm? Right? It's like she thinks that like she doesn't have to put any work in. She thinks she can just show up, and her presence is enough.
Yeah. No, of course. Like you should be grateful that I'm even mentioning you. It's
right.
Just like but she would have said the exact same thing if it was Andrew Cuomo who ended up fucking winning. Like, I support the Democrats. It's like fucking. It's not an ideological thing to her, or even a personal thing, because it's like, how the fuck can you support that fucking monster? But also, she understands my donors, my backers, my financial backers don't want me openly endorsing and saying I endorse Zoran Mamdani.
All right, we're gonna call it quits soon, guys, but we'll find it at the next good stopping point.
Yeah.
He's not the only star. I know that he's in New York, and I know New Yorkers think they're the center of the world. And here we are in New York having this interview.
It is the biggest city in the
and
country.
I love New York, as the saying goes. I really do. But I mean, there are people like Barbara Drummond
biggest
in Mobile,
example.
Alabama, Helena Moreno in New Orleans. They're all running for mayor too, and they are stars. So I hope that we don't so over-index on New York City that we lose sight of the stars throughout our country who are right now running for mayor and many other offices, governor, and so on. So
All
that's where I'm
Democratic
at. We
races
got a big
matter.
tent, and we got a lot of stars.
2026 is shaping up.
We got-
That's where I am. We got a big tent, and we got a lot of stars.
Oh,
2026
really? You got a lot of stars?
Yeah.
No one's heard of those two women that you just mentioned.
Literally.
No
Yeah.
one has heard of them.
For good
and
reason.
one of them's a daughter of an oil tycoon.
Yeah,
Stat Pat
not they're
reminds us.
not even progressives.
Yeah,
And
they're not even
that's-
progressive.
And that's the thing.
No, because she's establishment. She doesn't like Zoran. She doesn't think that.
No, yeah.
She doesn't think,
not.
for better or worse, Kamala Harris does not think that Zoran Mamdani should be the paradigm for future Democratic Party politics.
Of course.
Even though all of the data, say what you will about the politics themselves, all of the professional political analysis related to polling suggests that the Zoran way is the best way right now. That is an objective, reasoned, data-driven consensus opinion among people who know American politics and who have been studying American politics for decades, like Stat Pat and I.
Bingo.
Is shaping up to be an election that is going to be filled with Democratic primaries, though.
Yeah.
A lot of mainline Democrats in their 70s and 80s are going to be facing challengers in their 30s. Do you think Democrats are at all justified in their frustration with there
Yes.
being so many older Democrats in elected office? Do you think it is time for the oldest
Overdue.
Democrats in elected office to be thinking kind of wholesale as a category about the need to retire and move
Time.
on?
It's been time.
I wouldn't overgeneralize on that, meaning that there are some Democrats who are, older in age but very young in terms of how they are.
Oh,
thinking,
fuck
and very
that.
bold in terms
Oh
of how
my
they think. I think that every one of the candidates is going to be judged based on whether they actually have a
Gross.
plan, whether they see the people, whether they're listening to them, whether they offer something that feels dynamic and bold, especially at this moment, whether they have the fight. in them
Get the
to
olds
fight what
out
they
of
know
the
to be wrong,
way.
But also the fight to fight for.
Who's going to make for a better fighter, Kamala?
God damn.
A dinosaur of a politician or fresh, young, and sexy? Like, give me a break.
like,
or something. I think that's how they're going to be judged. I don't know that the voters are going to judge strictly on somebody's age.
Yes, they will,
Yeah.
because
Oh
there's
my
so
God.
much resentment for baby boomers.
You fucking-
People
like, are you
hate
kidding?
the
You're-
rest. The only people who don't hate baby boomers are baby boomers or silent generation. That's
How
it.
could sh- how could
Everybody
she
who's
sit
not a
there-
baby boomer hates the fucking boomers. Even the conservatives. Even conservatives hate the baby boomers.
How could she sit there and say that with a straight face when her campaign was literally because fucking Joe Biden is
Right.
old and
Yes.
was out
Exactly.
of it.
There
People
you go. That's
like
a way
there are-
better point.
there are
That's
polls-
even a better point. Yep.
Yeah, there are polls
Yep.
conducted, multiple polls. They're saying that like Biden shouldn't run for re-election because of his fucking goddamn age, Kamala. Like, how can you sit there and say
Some
that?
saying she's not that bright.
Yeah,
She's
no,
not that
fucking
bright. She's
stupid.
not. She's not bright. I met someone recently whose like opinion about California politicians I really respected, very elevated, and maybe it's something to do with her being on camera, where I think Kamala's good. Maybe like she might be a little George W. Bush-esque, where George W. Bush, everybody who met him in person thought that he was like really charming and bright and sharp, and then he would get on camera and he'd be a bumbling, stumbling idiot. Now
Sure.
this obviously isn't
Yeah.
that bad, but I'm wondering if she's just like being real here with this answer. I don't think she is. I don't
Have
think
much
she
more to
is.
ask.
Fight
That's-
for something. I think that's how
I
they're going to,
can't
especially at this
tell.
moment, very bold in terms of how they're thinking. I think that every one of the candidates is going to be judged based on whether they actually have a plan, whether they see the people, whether they're listening to them, whether they offer something that feels dynamic and bold, especially at this moment, whether they have the fight in them to fight what we know to be wrong, but also the fight to fight for something. I think that's how they're going to be judged. I don't know that the voters are going to judge strictly on somebody's age.
I have much more to ask you.
Okay. I'm-
Listen to how much respect she has for the American voter. I mean, has she, like
Very
you
little.
know. I mean, how? Well, no. Well, that's that. No, she has too much.
Oh, really?
She thinks, yeah, she thinks that age isn't going to matter. Are you kidding me? The poster The poster is incredibly important. Dude, Zoran's a great-looking guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Zoran's very photogenic. And then you back that up with the skills and the communication talent, and you got yourself a great candidate.
And, yeah, and he's
it's kind of insulting to Zoran.
Yeah.
For Kamala to compare him to those other no names.
Yes.
It kind of takes away from his ethos, don't you think? His public ethos.
No, I mean, like it's more so her not wanting to commit to, I guess, embracing him, like,
right,
just in general. But also like it, like giving the voters her wanting to give the voters a lot more credit and whatnot. It's more so like, oh god, I had a good point and I lost it.
It's okay.
But,
I was just pointing out that she thinks that age isn't a huge criteria. And
yeah,
it absolutely is.
No, of course, yeah.
And talk about getting millennials and Gen Zers to show up. They would probably show up for one of their own. A hell of a lot more likely to show up for one of their own.
Yeah. Okay. Mamdani. That was the thing. Like he, like obviously, like I've said multiple times before, he is so good at what he does, and like I think, like we said, everybody should learn from him. Like anybody who's running in a Democratic primary, don't listen to the fucking strategists. Don't listen to the people that are in Kamala Harris's ear. Don't take her fucking advice. Right. Go to him. Like he was asked straight up. I think it was local news, because obviously Eric Adams recently dropped out of the New York race, which means a lot more of his votes are going to be going towards Cuomo rather than Mamdani. I don't think it's going to end up mattering, but Mamdani was asked like straight up, "Could you say one good thing about Eric Adams?" And he's like, "Well, I like that Eric Adams was able to call Andrew Cuomo a snake and a weasel and something along those lines." Just like, yes, that's the way to do it. Like fucking be a little fucking underhanded in your insults and whatnot.
So I can coach. This is how I would coach people struggling with how to interact with the media. Mm-hmm. And understanding how to like really frame things for them. You are not on their time. Mm-hmm. They are on your time.
Yes.
You don't like a question? Tell them I'm not answering that.
Yeah.
They keep asking it. You ask it again, I'm gonna leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to talk about this. You don't want to talk about that? You want to talk about something I said back in high school? Well, yeah, I said that. Can we get back to stuff that actually matters? Mm-hmm. Because more often than not, the journalist doing the reporting or asking the questions, those are all market-driven questions. Those are all there to preserve capitalism, as we know it, and that's why it was interesting. But I mean, this is the thing. If you're politically savvy, and I really hope people are watching this, I know, because if you're politically savvy and you take what Kamala said at the beginning of that interview where she says democracy and capitalism support each other, and then she takes her support of Mamdani, and his whole point is that, no, capitalism is there to eat the poor.
Yes.
And it's like, it's just a testament to how much more talented, how much more intelligent Mamdani is.
By far. Yeah.
And it's why I will always be unapologetically biased towards political figures with backgrounds from the I-95 corridor. Mm-hmm. I think people from the I-95 corridor, Boston, New York, Philly, Baltimore, D.C., and you can keep going down into Virginia a little bit, but I just think from that part of the country, we understand rhetorical conflict better than anyone else in the country. Mm-hmm. It's not, remember, the motto of my show, you don't get change in America by asking nicely. That is straight out of the culture of the I-95 corridor, and why I'm thrilled to see Zoran Mamdani evolve that culture
without a doubt. Like out here in California, people are all about being. It's Hollywood. It's camera. It's lights, camera, action. It's being the star. It's being the center of attention and whatnot. It's being the sole focus, and it's like. That's the culture out here, and we're so pampered. We're away from the majority of the country, which is all up there in the Northeast. And so it it really checks out that like Kamala Harris is like a lot more about making it about herself and not very talented when it comes to like being on camera in general, because it's like you've said before, you got to work the media or else the media works you.
Gonna work you, yeah.
In Mamdani, like there's enough uh, uh, people power behind him to where he doesn't have to worry about not going on. Not being invited back on shows or whatnot. If
Well, I
he's
think it's
gonna be a little bit
embarrassing
more
that Morning
hostile.
Joe hasn't had him on
Yeah,
yet. I
of
think it's
course.
pathetic. I think
Yeah,
it's
'cause
pathetic
there-
that
so
Morning
when it
Joe
comes
hasn't
to,
had
like,
him yet.
when it comes to like the Democratic Party and whatnot, that and the media as well, like the big networks like MSNBC or CNN, where you can't like ask too difficult questions and whatnot, or else the politicians won't come back on your show. It's like a lot of these politicians are camera whores. So it's like, yeah, be a little bit more aggressive, be a little bit more, uh, um, prodding in your questions. Ask difficult questions. Fucking don't hold them up on a pedestal. Don't play patty cakes with them. Don't stroke their egos and shit. And it also works both ways. It's like like politicians should also hold the media accountable for the way that they're covering certain things.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
it was
Mamdani
a good,
is really good at
yeah, it was a good show.
I agree.
And it's good to see you.
Of course.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, thank you very much for coming on. I think over half of my audience is not subscribed, though. So please, if you're watching this and not subscribed, please help me out. I'd like to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, but it's looking less and less likely now that I've only got 3 months left to work with.
Right.
But, Stat Pat, and you take us out, and I'll wrap us up.
For sure. Well, I'll be going to Aftershock this weekend. I'll be rocking out as much as I can.
Nice.
Be going up there Thursday and staying till Sunday, and then I don't know about October in general. I'm so jaded by politics. I kind of want to stay away from it for as long as possible. But we'll see.
I know, right? We
suppose.
got to suck it up, though. We got to keep doing it. It's our obligation. It's our civic obligation to get this shit on record about because we called this, dude. Like, go back and look at my essays, you all, when Stat Pat and I first met. Like, it's like we've been right about everything. The right-wing magic trick, my 3rd episode, that's the scapegoat politics is just an evolved version of that intellectual property, of that intellectual premise that the art of magic is distraction, right? And that's what they're doing.
Yes.
They're using the xenophobia, they're using the racism, they're using the,
Hey, you're taking
God.
away our health care. Look over there, illegals. They're getting health care.
Exactly.
fucking
There it is.
be
The distraction
distracted.
tactics.
Look shiny.
It's the distraction tactics. For
Yeah.
anyway, please, if you haven't already, take a look at my essays because they're very serendipitous. And until next time, for Stat Pat, Stateless Patriot, I am Dieter McBusiness, American Wasp, reminding you that you don't get changed in America by asking nicely.
Thank you all
Stay
for joining.
safe out there if you are a lefty. Stay very safe. And
Yes.
thank you guys for joining us. Please don't forget